Hey, everybody.
Hi.
How are things going? You're muted, JP.
I am muted. See, I'm a flustered. Sorry, I was saying, sorry about the 42. We're recording. I have mine right here too. My camera just will come on and then it gives me the yellow screen of death. So I have to bail out, unplug it and start again. So.
No. Well, we'll give a minute. We're still a little bit early.
Yeah, we got like grunchy people here 10 minutes early.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I finally get to participate in one of those.
Yeah, we're glad to have you.
I'm happy to be here. How are things going there?
They're good.
Good. Yeah.
Kids going to million.
We had a good start and then I got sick. I had to stop everything.
Oh,
So hopefully now we'll be back on track.
yeah, hopefully. Yeah, sometimes life happens.
Yeah.
Yes,
It took a turn on me.
it does.
Let me plug my computer because I'm about to lose power.
Bob Rousseau,
Bob?
how are you?
Hello,
sir?
hello. How are things?
Wonderful.
Come on, convincingly now.
No, it was great. I had a great day. Moved a bunch of about 4 or 5 tons of rock and fixed my gate. Good day.
Good. I just got out of one meeting about choir tour and then had another one about band tour, and kids are expensive.
Oh, yes, they are. They don't ever go away.
Yeah, unfortunately. Fortunately, that's what I've heard.
Yeah, they trust me. Well, at least I can testify for 4.
So yeah, it's been a little bit of a crazy afternoon, but
I was going to have one meeting today, but I guess it got canceled. A marketing meeting.
oh yeah.
Amy, you've got some pencils out of place out behind you.
Which ones?
On top, I see a little hole.
I know. Totally full.
Hi, Amy. This is Karen Gasparowski. I'm on my co-president's computer. Jody's here with me, so.
Awesome. Yeah, we're glad to have you here. We're going to give just kind of a minute. We'll let people get on. We're still just a second early.
Good, I'm gonna get some burners, see if I can keep everything calm.
Get the tickle out of your throat.
Yeah. If anybody has, is everybody building? I know everybody was building and then things have gotten, so some people are not building again, and
October 16th.
awesome.
We plan on building 30 beds, and it's in conjunction with a organization called Hope Floats for Veterans. They actually have their own sawmill, and they're sawing the lumber and donating it. And what they do is they're going to be building tiny homes on a lake for homeless veterans, and it's all run by veterans as well.
Oh,
So I think it's going to be a good partnership.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'd like free lumber every now and then.
With the way the last year's gone on the price of that.
I did
Yeah.
notice the prices have come way down.
I was shocked. We bought 20 beds worth of lumber last weekend, and I was shocked how much less it was.
Yeah,
Good.
Purchased
it was
it.
in Home Depot or Lowe's yesterday for unrelated issues, but standing in the lumber and waiting to check out, and the 8-foot 2x6 was like $750 or something. Haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah. Yeah, I was shocked how much it had come down from the last time we bought that much.
I didn't wander back and see what plywood was. I'm sure hopefully it's not $100 a sheet anymore.
I know.
Yeah, we're hopefully gonna do a build in November, sometime in November, a second one. So I'm excited about that. I had a meeting with some people that hopefully are going to become my core team yesterday. Well, what's today? Today's Tuesday. Yeah, yesterday. So I'm excited about that.
That is exciting.
Good thing.
Important.
Yeah, we started getting bed requests. We're gonna deliver some more beds this weekend. So yeah, it's good.
Awesome. Yeah, that's
The
awesome.
heat is not killing us here anymore because man, those past 2 months, I didn't even want to leave my house. I'm like, there's no way.
Right. You're probably just hitting prime building time for you guys.
Oh, I can't wait for December, November,
Yeah.
December.
Yeah, we're almost out of our prime building time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a quick way to get information out that we have zip codes open now? Because we're just, I mean, they just opened our first 5 zip codes. And I mean, I figure like DHS and churches and schools and stuff, but is there a quick way to get that information to them? To find the connections?
So there
Facebook.
is, yeah, that's gonna be my suggestion. I post in, if our applications ever get down, I post in moms groups or indoor yard sale pages in my community.
Some of them kick me off.
Find someone who will share. And my suggestion is to post a link directly to the application. If you're posting in those places.
A link? Okay, I've just been so far telling them go to shpbeds.org and click on
Right.
the.
So, and
I'm not good with that stuff. I've got a social media manager, but she's had some issues and has been on hiatus on me.
yeah, I would suggest starting there. And it really is, once you start delivering beds and have the word of mouth will help you a lot too.
Yeah.
So
I just posted a link in the chat. It's not on the dashboard officially yet, but I'll make sure I put a button there. The page exists. There's a form that you can submit if a chapter wants to utilize our pay-per-click, basically advertisement. We get free advertisement money from Google via a grant. I get like 10 grand a month. So you can put a request in and put your zip codes and stuff in there so that Trivet Media, who handles that for us, would put some ads in your area. So someone types in beds in Google, will show up. Your chapter will show up.
So we have a grant that covers that. It's not going to cost the chapter.
No, you just submit that, and then we'll take care of adding your zip codes and running them for a while in your area. So if someone Googles searches for beds or something like that, you'll pop up in their search feed. Yep, free to you.
You all right? Okay.
So there's a link for that in the chat. It's not on the dashboard yet, but you came to this meeting, so you get first access.
First access. Okay.
Right?
Go.
Sorry, my backside. Yeah.
Anybody else have builds coming up or anything you want to share? We'll give people just a couple more minutes to get on if they're going to. Skip.
We had a build with one of our local high schools 2 months ago, and the high school construction teacher asked me what the most beds that had ever been built during a school day. And I said, Gilmer High School built 23 beds in a school day. And he said, we'll do 40. Well, they built 53 during the school day.
Oh, wow.
And then between that build and our Bucks Across America build that generated another 50, I think we're fixed through late fall in terms of our bed supply.
Awesome. That's awesome. I did a build with a high school band or a high school shop class. It was a lot, actually.
Yeah, we did a 50-bed build in one of our local high school shop classes. They ran the entire school through there all day long.
Well-
Every hour, another group came through.
But one of the greatest things that's just recently developed is that one of our core members, who has been a math teacher working with my daughter at one high school, has been assigned to a brand new high school in the area as the construction teacher. So there's another avenue. I mean, if we line up 4 builds a year with construction classes, that will go a long way towards providing everything that we need.
That's awesome.
We utilize also our high school people for helping us move all the lumber and helping us move the beds afterwards, which is a big help.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Junior in, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm having a 50-bed build this Saturday with our local St. Jude's Catholic Church.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Yeah, I did just look. So far this month, we built 1,217 beds, assuming everybody's done their CPR.
Wow.
I know here in Oklahoma City, we've got a 30-bed build just scheduled for this Saturday.
Awesome. I'm so glad to hear people are building.
Yes.
And we're going to try to do 75 in 2.5 hours on Sunday evening.
Sorry, folks. I'm working right now, so I pulled off the side of the road. I'm a tow truck driver now.
We're glad you pulled over and we're glad that you're here.
Yeah. I actually drive for AAA of Oklahoma now.
Awesome. We had a public build on Saturday, September 11th for the National Day of Service. We got invited to participate in our town. We raised enough money and bought materials for 20 beds, but we had 50 beds worth of stuff left over from a very ambitious 100-bed build that they had maybe half the volunteers that this company was supposed to have. All 70 were finished. We were scrambling to find jobs for people. I have never done a public build where we had 200 people show up.
Wow.
We've never in our 4.5 years done a public build like that where it was awesome. We started at 9 and we had the trailer loaded up. Everybody helped and we're pulling out of the parking lot at 12:45.
Wow.
I know.
That's impressive.
It was so exciting for me that we had so many people come, and yeah, it was great.
Wow.
All right. Well, we have lots of people on. I'm so excited. Oh, Dan, did you raise your hand on purpose?
You're muted, Dan.
Oh yeah, you are muted if you're talking.
Nope, sorry, I did not do that on purpose.
Okay, I wondered if you wanted to say something. Trying to make sure I catch up. All right. So JP and Matt, do you want me to turn to you guys first, and then I'll talk about deliveries at the end?
However you like to do that.
Okay, I think that's
JP wants to go.
hey.
Wow, thanks, Matt. Well, I always love that support. Right behind you, buddy.
Yeah, pushing you off the.
Thanks everybody for joining us. It seems like it's been 6 months since we did the last family meeting and not 3. I'm not sure why that is. They don't seem to come around very often, but it's nice to see where we got on here right now, about 64 people. That's a good thing. We try to minimize the amount of spam we send you in the form of emails. But some things that they get super critical that we do need to talk about. Everybody on here has signed a CP agreement in one form or another. However, we've had to update that agreement. And it's actually something, I believe the plan that we're going to do it every year. I think January is the plan. To send it out to everyone with any refresh that we may have. There may not be any changes, but we'll send it anyway. But we just want to do, it's been a long time since some of us have seen it. Clearly the new things in it is in the form of a non-compete clause. For those of you that don't know, we have had some chapters spin off, start their own gigs while they were still SHP chapters or shortly thereafter. And that's the basic gist of what drove that. But the non-compete, can we, Matt, do you have it handy? If we could just throw it up there. I do if you don't.
I don't. I'm actually on a different computer.
Okay, here, let me just throw it up. It should be on there now. Everybody see it? Okay, basically, we'll run through it real quick. The top part is going to sound very familiar. I don't believe we've changed anything in the first several paragraphs from what we all would have originally signed when we went to training in Twin or regionally. We did start using this new agreement. Amy, help me out. October of last year. Is that right? So we rolled this out late in the fall, but in a nutshell, we all agree to abide by the rules that keep us in the favor of the government, to keep us in the favor of our donors and how we spend those what we all call precious dollars. That, you know, it's clear when we talk about spending. If you have a question, you know, we've always used the statement of, if the person that gave you that dollar was standing behind you in line, would you still make the purchase? I think I'd like to add to that. If you even have a glimpse of a doubt about what you're buying, you probably ought not to buy it, to put it in my best Arkansas vernacular. We have to be very careful to make sure that there is absolutely no, the appearance that anyone single person is benefiting from the expense of those funds. Okay, that's basically it in good, clean terms. So we all agree to that. We all agree to follow the SHP policies and accounting and how those dollars are spent. In the unlikely event that a chapter gets dissolved, closed, and or terminated, we all agree to help SHQ or our RSLs or whoever gets the task of coming to collect things, to close things out, to help them as much as we can, to not hide things, to then turn over everything that we have used the donated funds to buy. So, I mean, that's all, none of that's our property. We all talk about our tools, and I think it's because we're in possession of them. Everything belongs to SHP. None of the stuff belongs to us. So we just agree, you know, life changes. We've had chapters recently that just life is not what it was 3 years ago. And unfortunately, they have to close. We are working on a couple now to try and, you know, make sure that we can, if at least give it our best college try to find new leadership for those areas. Because I'm sure Matt and Amy and anybody else in the executive team would tell you, I hate closing chapters. It just pains me to see a chapter close, especially when you see the list of bed requests that they have that go unfilled. And it's if on a larger scale outside of the city limits, is all of those, you know, what flavor or taste do all those people go away with SHP? Certainly not one that I want them to. I want them, when somebody thinks of us, to think about putting kids in beds and not getting bed requests that don't ever get fulfilled or the chapter just disappears. So lots of help out there to help you with those. But in the unlikely event we terminate a chapter, we need to be able to work together, be adults, and get everything back to the organization and to another chapter or to another new chapter or whatever. Then we roll down to the non-compete clause. This is really the new, the October change. Basically, it says that while you're an active SHP chapter president and until 2 years after you quit being associated with SHP, you won't enter into the same type of business, if you will, which is making beds for kids. I don't know, Matt, you want to add anything to that? I think it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I guess I would just ask, does anybody have any questions about the non-compete?
Yes, please.
Hey, JP, this is Lou.
Yeah, Lou.
I got a question, not about that, but about closing chapters. We had one here close by that the chapter started up and they did a Boy Scout build, an Eagle Scout build, and then they closed. It seemed obvious that's the only reason they did it. Is SHQ talking about not allowing Eagle Scout builds for their first build, or at least for the first year?
No, there's absolutely no plan to do that. And I completely agree with you. I think that's exactly why they started the chapter, was for their son's Eagle Scout program.
Yeah.
Awful lot of effort to get an Eagle Scout program done.
We are, I hope, at this point, especially those of you who came on early, you know the little bit of chaos that it was as we had chapters coming on. We are doing a better job of what it looks like, partly because we know, and we've been training for a while, of setting up that expectation of what it actually looks like to run a chapter and to continue running a chapter. So I'm hoping that we don't run into that situation again here moving out, but.
Yeah, it's pretty frustrating, Lou, but we tried to find some new leadership there. The other thing they never had, which everybody's probably getting really tired of hearing, but I think to a chapter that a lot of the 95% of the chapters or more that we see that are getting that they just can't do it anymore and burn out or whatever, don't have teams.
Yep.
There is no one to share tasks with or to I think, I've learned to let go of things, which wasn't an easy task, and just do things yourself. But I also know that there's things that just happen now without me being around, which is kind of cool. But a lot of those chapters that we see have those problems with, they don't have a team. But no, I don't think that we would. I think, like Amy said, we do a lot better job now talking about from the get-go, from the moment somebody puts an NCR request in. We don't even send people to training now without talking about without meeting with their team. So you won't, just have a husband and wife or two buddies show up at Twin for training without a lot of back work. So, yeah.
Matt, there's a couple of questions in the chat.
Oh, I'm going to stop
Yeah,
so I can see the chat. Go ahead.
Luke, I was going to address one of the questions in the chat there by about why do we even have a non-compete? When we originally started SHP, that was the furthest from our minds. I mean, we're just simple people that want to help kids and build beds for kids, and that hasn't changed. Actually, we're all still the same hearted people that want to do that. Unfortunately, SHP has experienced the adverse effects of someone wanting to do more than just build beds for the kids. They wanted to run their own thing. They wanted to, highlight themselves. And anyways, long story short, we've had chapters that have broken away, that have used the SHP brand, the SHP name, the SHP motto, the SHP everything they can to further their own efforts, even to the point that they've defrauded and even we could prove embezzled money and materials just for their own purposes of running their own thing. Now, do I have a problem? Does anybody have a problem with someone helping kids get off the floor with beds? I don't care who you are. That you're awesome in my book. What we don't want to do is mislead people. We don't want to mislead sponsors, donors, because let's be honest. Let's call it a spade a spade. It's flat out lying, and it's fraud, and it's not right, and it doesn't allow the SHP name to stay pure when we've got people out there that are committing these things. So the non-compete is just a great way for us to ensure that we've got the right people that really are in it for building beds for kids, under the SHP program. You know, if people want to go build beds for kids, you know, go somewhere and do it. I mean, that's awesome. There's organizations that do that. We just know that SHP, and we want to keep the SHP brand and name as pure as possible, as clean as possible, so we don't mislead our sponsors, our donors. We don't mislead our volunteers, and certainly our bed recipients. You know, we've had some situations where these breakoffs, if you will, have actually used the SHP brand. Well, I should say bed and brand mark in getting their own foot in the door in certain areas, and actually creating bad names for SHP, where sponsors and donors have contacted them going, well, I thought, you know, why aren't you guys responding to us? Why aren't you responding to the community SHP when they were actually not SHP? So, you know, the non-compete, you know, it's one of those policies we just have to put in place to protect everybody else on this call, everybody that's a part of the SHP family.
It was not pleasant to do.
No,
It was not, and it cost a lot of money. Let's be honest.
Matt will tell you that. I'll tell you that it was very unpleasant.
It was hard. It was hard emotionally, and yep.
Any
So,
go ahead.
I was just saying, so I get when, and we all knew, and the executive team, we all talked about this non-compete for a while, and how that can maybe rub some people wrong. We really hope it doesn't, and don't want it to rub people wrong. It literally is just a safeguard for all of us here to make sure we keep our mission pure, our chapter name, our brand, all of that. We just keep it as clean and as transparent as possible. The last thing, guys, we want is to someone questioning the ethics of SHP because of someone else.
Yes, so Bob, that's a great segue. You'd be a great straight guy. So we recently signed up with, we all will be getting one of these to sign. I think, Matt, we're going to do it before the end of the year. I believe that is the plan.
Yeah, that is the plan. Yep, we're shooting for by the end of August, or sorry, the end of October. We will get it sent out there. Yep, and it will be a digital signature. You will receive a DocuSign. Yep, that will come from us, and so we can capture it electronically and stuff.
Yes, we set up an account with DocuSign, so we'll be using that. That should make it a lot easier for everybody and eliminate the paper.
Yeah, we're trying to simplify some of our housekeeping lives as well. So we're gonna get those all digitally signed, so we have them in one place and we're not scanning things and keeping papers somewhere else. And
any other questions about that? I mean, it's kind of one of those have to things, sorry. But
kind of want them done by the 1st is kind of what you think?
I don't know why it wouldn't take everybody more than a couple of days.
Yeah.
We haven't discussed the timeline yet, David, quite honestly. But I can't believe it should go more than a week, to be pretty generous. If you're checking your email once a week, you know, and don't, you know, put DocuSign stuff, mark it as spam.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, there will be kind of a sequence of it. The plan is, you know, we'll send it out, and if, you know, hopefully, like I said, it's literally takes, you know, 2 seconds to sign the document, but we recognize everybody's busy and stuff, but we will push pretty hard on it to get it back, you know, middle of November deadline kind of thing, and so that we can get it done and out of the way for the year.
Anybody else?
Great question.
Perfect. Amy, back to you.
I think Skip, do you have something?
Yeah, just
everyone in our screen.
Just a point of order. Until 2 years ago, non-compete clauses were unenforceable in the state of Georgia. The Georgia legislature recently made some changes. I have some computer clients that are lawyers, and the Georgia legislature recently made some significant changes that allow non-compete clauses to be enforced in the state of Georgia. So I think that is something that indicates that we're on the right path here.
Yeah,
And just quickly, a guy who was trained the same week as I was, Lord, 4 years ago, came back and decided not to open an SHP chapter, became the head of a local nonprofit, held a bed build, invited me to participate in that, and I wasn't available. They held a bed build and posted on their Facebook page that they were partnering with Sleep in Heavenly Peace.
Wow.
It was my pleasure to chase him and his bosses down and make sure that they pulled that from publication, warning them that they were in violation of our agreements, and also indicating to them that I would be happy to coordinate with them on anything in the future, but they needed to pull it and like now, and they did.
Yep, that's a great, exactly the point there, Skip. You know, that's exactly what we're trying to prove, is that it, you know, going back to what Luke said, if anything, this just damages our reputation, unfortunately. And, you know, especially when you look at the powerhouse behind what SHP has become, when you look at how much money, you know, from the corporate level that we help raise. I mean, some of these people, and like Luke said it best, unfortunately, they get focused on the glory for the, if you want to put it, the glory, right, for themselves and stuff, and they want to attach to that. And it's unfortunate. And, you know, we also recognize the struggle that it may be, you know, legally kind of thing when it comes to the non-compete. But ultimately, what we're trying to do is just create an organization that is true to its word, and stands behind what our mission is, and that's to get the kids off the floor. And unfortunately, there's always going to be somebody there that, you know, breaks that rule, I guess you could say, but it will make it a struggle. But yep, appreciate that story, because that's exactly the scenario.
Okay. Amy, exceptionally appropriate.
Yes. Going to quickly, while you're all here, talk about, I'm trying to remember when it was.
It was only about a month ago.
Yeah, about a month ago. I sent out something in the newsletter about deliveries and delivery pictures. I'm going to share my screen really quick and just share the newsletter, what I put in the newsletter. And we just want to kind of reiterate what we said here and see if you have any questions about it. But just really quick, no one ever goes into a home alone. That needs to be your standard. It not only protects the families, it protects you and your volunteers and your chapter. No one's alone in homes, period. When you talk to parents about the indemnification form, please talk to them about the photo release. Like I said here, we don't ever want a family to feel like they have to say yes to getting their pictures taken to get a bed. So I put the little script that I say in there, what I say to them. They can say yes or no, but I need both pages filled out. I know hopefully that they understand what we're doing. If they say no on the form, you can't take a picture of their kids. I have a cute volunteer in my chapter who somehow talks every mom into letting her take pictures, even if they've said no. And I have had to say, you can't take a picture of their kids. Even if mom said yes while she was there, the form says no. So legally you can't, their kids can't be in it. That might be a time, there are going to be times where taking just a picture of the bed is the right thing to do. Then you still have pictures of the bedding, the donations, things like that. But do not include kids in the pictures if the waiver has not said yes. We've run into a couple, and I know that this can be really tricky, but make sure that there are no kids in the picture that aren't on the indemnification form. Maybe they have cousins over or neighbor kids or whatever. You can only have pictures of kids who have been signed in the form and said yes. Be careful when you're taking pictures of identifying items, names, things hanging on their wall about where they live, anything like that. And then exceptionally appropriate. So if you've come to training in the last, I don't know, 9 months, maybe, I don't know how long I've been saying this. This is what I've been asking of people, and we're kind of pushing it for everybody. We're good at getting better at training, but we're not always good at passing those things back through SHP. So exceptionally appropriate pictures, not just appropriate, but exceptionally appropriate. You're taking pictures of kids, if you are, and they need to just be so careful. The kids are fully dressed, not little tiny nightgowns or underwear or things like that. Volunteers shouldn't be holding kids. I know that one's tricky. I love kids. I was a teacher before I had my kids. I love having all my neighborhood kids over at my house and hugs and all of those things. And I know kids are excited, but they shouldn't ever be holding a kid. But please hold the standard to that super high, exceptionally appropriate pictures. We had brought up in a meeting a couple of days ago that maybe it would be a good idea to go through your social media postings, things that you've done in the past, and use that lens of exceptionally appropriate and just pull down anything that could be not exceptionally appropriate. Are there any specific questions or things on that?
Amy, I got one question I can throw in here.
Okay.
First a comment, then the question. The comment is,
okay,
there's regular deliveries where I've got ambiguity on the names of the kids who are receiving beds based on what's going on in that household. And if I wanted to go by the absolute letter of the law here, which I do, I would never have pictures at all. If I was to think about the possibility that there's a kid who got a bed who's not on the identification form. Help me think about that a little bit.
That's easy. Yep, that's a great question, Matt, and it's probably a legitimate one too. If that's the scenario, you reach out to us, and we've got loads of pictures that we can help you out with. That may actually be better in some scenarios where you don't have local children, that could be discovered or something like that. But we can help you out with getting appropriate pictures to you to post on social media.
I have a quick question. Is there a place where we can put pictures so that you can utilize them for other things?
Denny, is there still a place on the dashboard?
She's asking to upload, not download, right?
Oh, I thought we had a place to submit.
That is correct. So we can share good ones that you guys can use for other stuff.
Let me look and see. I know we had a place to upload at one point to attach things. If not, we can always add something. We have a ton of photos, but on the drive is normally where we had a shared drive location where people could upload delivery photos and stuff like that. Let me look and get back to you.
Yeah, we'll go back. Matt, did that help you? Yeah. Does that help you out there? Is that?
What I say to you is take a picture of the bed with the cute bedding on it. Take a picture of volunteers if they want to be in a picture who helped deliver that bed. Post those pictures, share those.
Yeah, volunteer pictures are awesome, just as awesome too.
Yeah, and then we have some stock pictures that you can use if you want to share some pictures with kids on them that aren't even from your area, which may help in some of that concern.
And Matt, with the onset of COVID and questions about these types of questions, we basically stopped taking pictures of kids anyway. I want my quilt pictures out there so my quilters keep quilting, but that's pretty much what we post.
Yeah. I won't belabor this one. I'll just say, like, there's people in my chapter who want and they love the pictures. If I were to say to them, guys, if there's even a chance that the kids on the form don't match the kids, I don't even know. Am I interviewing the names of the kids just to, So,
yeah, you don't have to take it to that level. If there's 2 kids there, you deliver 2 beds, it's probably safe. But the one that specifically that Amy's talking about, there was like 6 kids in the photograph. The mother of the 2 or 3 of the kids who weren't delivering were cousins or something.
Yeah,
she found the picture on social media.
She didn't want her kids' pictures out there.
She was very polite about it. She applauded us for everything we do, but it was not, but she clearly didn't want the pictures on there.
Yeah.
What about, I mean, I'm sure this kind of goes without saying, but what about your own kids? Considering he's helping with the setup and all that kind of stuff.
I think that's up to you. Yeah. As long as you're okay with it, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, Skip.
it even applies to builds. We've done a build with the alternative high school here in our community. And there was a girl there among the builders, among the students, who was in hiding, for lack of a better description. And so when we took the group picture, there's this beautiful half of a face peeking around our banner because she knew that she was not to be published. So that is an additional consideration for privacy regarding
Point,
children.
Skip. Keep in mind too that the build volunteer or your volunteer help form actually says on there that we do our best to not, if they don't want to be pictured or whatever, but we can't guarantee that they will not show up. That is actually stated in the volunteer indemnification. And so you need to make sure that if there are those that are not comfortable with it or whatever, that they just try to avoid the picture. But it is literally, I mean, like Amy was saying, you got 200 people there. It's pretty impossible to guarantee that somebody's not taking a picture. And so, but that's a good point.
Well,
That girl, that gal recognized it and did what she could to avoid it. So,
and I will say, I'll jump in real quick, and I will say when we've met with, Return the Favor, CNN, some of these networks that do this for a living, right? When we have a build session, they just have to announce and let people know that there are cameras here, and if you are not comfortable, willing, or able to have your picture taken, then you'll need to leave. And
I love that idea.
It's really surprising because some of them were like, everybody's got to sign the indemnifier. Those that came to Returning the Favor probably remember that headache. But then we had CNN show up, and literally all they did was post something right at the door as people walked in that said, filming is occurring. If you're going to be on premises, you recognize and accept that you're going to be, you have a possibility of being filmed. So not to say that I'm an expert, but if that's something that those guys do, I think we could probably copy suit to some degree and be covered.
I love that idea.
Well, and it says it in the
Great
waiver. I know not everybody reads through those waivers before they sign them. It does say in there that pictures will be taken.
Junior's got his hand up there, I think, unless it's an old one.
Yes, Junior, do you have your hand raised?
Yes.
Okay.
When we fill out the paperwork that we delivered 2 beds down at the bottom of the spot to upload, every time I fill out that I delivered the beds, I upload a couple pictures from that delivery on that file. So I don't know if that file has a database that some of these guys could get pictures from there.
Unfortunately, CX does not.
Yeah,
it's
it does not.
that way.
No.
But thank you
So
thank you for uploading pictures to your case.
Yeah.
Yeah, is it necessary for us to do that then, if we can't access them?
It is. You can access them individually, but it's not something that we can open up to like everybody to go grab them kind of thing. That's what JP's mean. It's not a super great platform to share that. So
It's more. I look at them more of a when we upload of everyone we build. That just shows that when I left the bed, that's what the bed looked like. There were safety rails.
Right.
It was assembled.
Okay.
There's not a 12-inch mattress on the top bunk. Right.
All right, yeah, I do. I upload a picture of every bed I've delivered. I just didn't. I was curious where that went also. So so I can access them again later.
You can. You open the case, they're there.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
And I think that's a great way to do it.
I'm not sure who chapter support is. Bruce, is that you or?
Oh, did I come on that way? I'm sorry.
Oh, it's Scott using Lisa's login.
No, it's my login,
Oh, okay.
buddy. CPAC.
Lisa's here too.
Oh, good. Yeah. Do you have something, Scott?
Well, what I wanted to say was when taking pictures, I mean, cute pictures are, kids are great for people that are already part of your page or that like your page. But from a marketing standpoint, pictures with your volunteers are probably better because those volunteers will then share their pictures on their pages and reach more people. So if you're concerned about, taking pictures, you probably benefit more from the volunteer pictures than the child's pictures anyways, as far as reaching out to more people and marketing. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think taking pictures of your volunteers who are helping deliver is awesome. It's that whole, the two parts of SHP that make it awesome, right? That we're making a difference for kids right there in your community, but that your community is invested in what you're doing. They're building the beds, they're delivering the beds, they're donating the money and the materials. Pictures of volunteers is awesome, and it really just goes to the second part of the mission.
Okay, if I may.
Sure.
On these indemnification forms, am I supposed to see those after they get filled out?
You can see those in CX.
Okay, I wasn't sure because I mean, I know they fill them out and they tell me what the, checked or whatnot and stuff like that. So that's why I was wanting to see if I was supposed to get some sort of notification or what. So.
There's no notification that comes, but you can go into the dashboard and pull them down. And keep in mind, it's not live. It doesn't,
Right.
update you. So if they fill it out, you can't go in there. It's a little bit behind, but yeah, you can pull a report on those that were signed and that kind of
If you
thing.
need help with that, reach out to your RSL. They can show you where that is.
I think there's actually a video out there too to show you how to do that.
I bet on the dashboard under videos, there will be one of these family check-ins about CX.
Okay. I will look into
that. Yeah, I think the title of I think you can tell what it's called. Denny did a good job of putting what the topic was, so you can go back and look through any of those. There are videos.
I'll send you an email.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else?
I think that we've been pushing people towards doing it online because, to tell you the truth, a lot of people have crummy writing. You can't even read it. So,
you guys, you should 100% be doing it online.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Don't make yourself. It's the same thing as, right, I'm sending you a DocuSign to sign the chapter president agreement. We're simplifying. Simplify your life. Don't make yourself have to keep track of papers and
right.
And scan it or whatever you're going to do with it. Just make people fill out the stuff online. That's what it's there for. We're trying to, simplify things for you, for sure.
Yeah, COVID kind of drove us, I think, along with many others, but we send the delivery indemnification days before we verify that it's completed. We don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
And there's no paper to deal with.
I'll tell you, those QR codes are fantastic.
Yes.
You can just say, do this and show it to me that you finished it, and I'm fine. As long as it says okay or whatever.
Show me the thank you screen.
Exactly. And that is just fantastic. I wish not everybody has a cell phone. A couple folks are kind of Luddites with flip phones or something. But man, that has just made things a lot easier for me, I have to admit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always our goal, is that we want you to raise money, build beds, and deliver beds. And that's what our goal is, to help you guys make it as easy as possible.
Dan Curtis said, Dan, you're talking about the volunteer indemnification for build days?
Yes.
Yeah, so you can do, that's what David was kind of alluding to right there. We have somebody with one of those QR codes printed and laminated, walking down the line at the registration table, and they just scan it and show me the thank you screen. We give you your wristband. But again, like Matt pointed out, you won't be able to see it for a couple hours till it rolls through the system.
Yeah.
In CX, you wouldn't be able to go to CX, run a report after they've done it and see that it's done.
I tape it down to the table, have them scan it, show us, and then they're allowed to get a wristband. If you're not using wristbands, that's something else you ought to consider. Makes it super easy. If they don't have a blue wristband in, I get to challenge them and say, you need to go the head of the line and go get it scanned.
Yeah.
We started doing that too. You can get wristbands like you get at an amusement park on Amazon for super cheap.
Super cheap.
Yep.
Scott, you can ask an off-topic question as long as it's not off color.
You know, we.
Hey, but
we should
Dan,
get
Dan, you understand there's a
SHP ones.
Dan, you know there's a poster on the dashboard, right? That's what we're all talking about.
Yeah, so there is on the dashboard that includes the QR code, and I'll send out for deliveries or build days. If I have like a group coming, I'll send them the bit.ly link, the short link. So it's bit.ly. I'll put them in the chat. /SHP delivery is the delivery indemnification form, or /SHP volunteer is the volunteer waiver. I send that short link out ahead of time, like if I have a group coming, or that's what I send for deliveries ahead of time. So there's
That's under the that's under the build section of the dashboard, and those QR codes and short bit.ly links are also under that same page. Everything for doing builds is right there.
Alicia had asked Scott before you go to your off-color question about, is that okay to purchase those? Yes, wristbands is part of build supply.
Yeah.
I think it would build supply or office supply, one of the two, but you can't go wrong with either category.
I prefer name tags. I like to call people by their names at the build.
We put a name tag on them too, but if you don't have a blue wristband, you didn't go past my registration table. So you're not touching a tool.
Yeah, with us, if you don't have a name tag, you're not going past.
That works. That
works too.
Never tried name tags. Maybe we'll have to do that.
We do a name tag as well, but the blue wristband is our insurance completion moniker, if you will.
All right, Scott, what's your question?
Yeah, Scott.
You're muted.
Where is he?
In the top left corner of mine.
Okay, am I there now?
It says Lisa's husband, yes.
I am there.
Yes, what's your question?
Okay, my question, well, there's a little bit of a statement first. I work with Chris Alphin in Middlesex, Mass. My wife and I are trying to get our own started near the end of the year. My question is, I'm having trouble getting people from my court team. Does anybody have any tips on getting people interested? I've tried Facebook. I've tried talking to personal friends. Does anybody have any tips that might help me draw people in?
It's a great question.
Many public builds. And
public builds, yes.
MINI, many, as in maybe 5 to 10 beds, and invite as many people as you can.
Okay.
Unfortunately, you have to be nice to people. I always found that works best. Just be nice to them.
Yeah.
That's a requirement.
Hey, you've came to my build how many times now, Tracy?
I have to be nice to people. It's terrible. Yeah. No, that's the way it works out, at least for me. You know, I don't know about everybody else. Ask JP how it works for him, I guess.
Hey, being nice works.
Scott, you're saying you haven't done a build? You haven't done a build yet, Scott?
Actually, we have. I've done 2 with Chris Alphin here locally where we are on the western part of the state. We've done builds, but I just haven't been able to get people interested in taking a position on the core team.
Have you done deliveries too?
Yes, my wife and I have personally delivered between 40 and 45 beds in the last year.
So you have 2 stories to tell. You have the story of your builds, you have the story of your deliveries. And I just encourage you and your close team members to tell that story to 10 people each and just keep telling it. In the beginning, it's tough for a chapter starting out because you're telling a story that you haven't lived yet. But once you start doing deliveries and you've had a couple of bed builds, you've got plenty to talk about. I'd also encourage you to go to Kiwanis, Rotary, go to some of your community clubs. Their mantra at each of those reads a lot like ours. They're very focused on children. You're going to find people there. Churches are huge as well. But just be patient. It will get out there. It takes a while to get going.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Sure. Brian, update on the second round of Tuft and Needle sheets. Yes, I do have. So excuse me. Last I spoke with the lady from Tuft and Needle, whose name now escapes me.
Melanie Ledoux.
Melanie, thank you, Joe. Melanie had processed I think we ended up with about, I want to say 330 sets of boxes of 4 sets each. That's all been divvied up. It's been turned over to their shipping department with an unknown completion. They have the same getting people to work in shipping departments as anybody else does right now. So the next thing that you'll hear about from Tuft and Needle is they'll show up at your door. If you got them. Now, we obviously had many more people sign up than we had sheets. So I gave her, simple guidelines of some people will get 3, some will get 2. When you run out, you run out. So sorry, I can't give you anything more detailed, but they're footing the bill for shipping and everything else. And if you've bought any mattresses or shipped anything lately, you know that freight is off the charts. Sorry, I can't give any more detail than that. They are coming.
Real quick, just kind of going back to the filtering question, within CX, I just sent a document to Denny. I'll turn it over to his capable hands to make it pretty or something, but we'll put that out on the dashboard for you guys of how to filter if you have questions and that kind of stuff with CX to filter down to your chapter.
Awesome. Any other questions on anything that we've talked about tonight or any other burning questions?
Yeah, 46 minutes. I can't believe we don't have something else to talk about.
I know. This is great. Yeah.
I've got something to share, Amy.
Okay.
We had Eddie Arnold as our guest speaker a couple of months ago on our Southwest region call. And Eddie threw out an idea that has really captivated us. He said in San Antonio, he is on a campaign to find 1,000 people to donate $10 a month and donate it on a recurring basis. So when you share an idea like that with me, I'm going to use it. And we've started playing with the idea. We're trying to give it a name, and I would rather defer to Danny to come up with something or Mitch, because you guys are great marketers.
Hold that roll a little bit. We're in the process of doing some things at the corporate level that is going to take that and go to the moon with it. So
it's the same concept.
Yep.
No, the cue's on it.
Yep,
Yeah.
we're a few months away, but we're trying to go slow and do it right. But we have it in our sights, and it's going to be awesome. So
great. If I could just put it in context for us in Phoenix, what it would mean is, I mean, 1,000 people donating $10 a month is $10,000 a month, and we are on a wild tear here to find a permanent build site. Yeah. And while we don't expect that rent would cost that much, it would be an amazing game changer for us. And this is the way
a game changer for the whole organization. You're right. Yep.
Yeah. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kind of what that looks like for us, and Luke, JP. I mean, you guys can tell me to shut up if I'm going to get in there too much, but really what we're trying to do.
I was appreciating your Luke impression. You're doing a dandy impression of Mickelson.
I'm just going to jump in real quick here. I got to
It
jump in.
is something that Luke does all the time, isn't it?
Jump in here. Here comes Luke. He's just good. Jump in here.
Essentially, what we are trying to do is we're going to create kind of a journey, if you will. So when somebody comes to a build, they sign their indemnification form. We'll create a journey where we'll create kind of like a campaign, if you will. All electronic, zero, kind of follow up from you kind of thing. It'll create a journey that will go back, tell them, first of all, thanks for volunteering. Could you give $1? Could you give $10? Could you do this monthly? Could you do, kind of thing. So we are, the thing here that we're working on, it could be huge for us. But that's essentially what it is. And, kind of create a campaign journey, if you will, and allow us to touch base with all of these volunteers and the community kind of thing, or anybody that visits the website or anything like that we can grab and create that set income every month kind of thing.
I have a question.
Okay, Leon, go ahead.
Are you thinking of finding some way to use plastic? Because it seems like everything's going to plastic now as far as payments.
Say that again, sorry.
Is there any way of accepting credit cards? Because that's the.
Yep, that will be the primary, will be credit card or like an ACH type thing. Yep.
Yeah, so if you have someone who wants to donate to your chapter through a credit card, give them your chapter's donation page and they can donate with their card right there
Right now.
to your chapter. Yep.
That's available now, Leon.
They can also do an ACH on that same donation page as well as a credit card.
A lot of chapters have made it every month, like Joe was talking about.
You can make it a recurring.
Do that in Donor Perfect.
Yeah,
They
you
can
can do
set it
that.
up to be a recurring donation.
You can set up that recurring donation now, David.
Yep.
A lot of chapters have QR codes with their Donor Perfect link on them.
Yeah.
And I actually had those printed on a business card size just to keep the cost down. And those are super popular when I hand them out to people. I have one that on the other side has our social media links on it. So to have something that you can hand to volunteers with your Donor Perfect card on it, could be helpful.
Yeah,
that's a great idea, Bill. That's a great idea.
So we're doing a Giving Tree promotion at a church in November, December, and we sign off with our QR code. It's just an awesome product, and it will take people to our Donor Perfect page for the recurring donation. But it starts off with a description of SHP and what we stand for, and then it goes right to here are your donation options.
So I
Yeah,
think
we have our QR code set up with our Donor Perfect page and also our Amazon wish list on our sign-in table, so they can hit either one of them.
That's a great idea.
I added a BITLY address in addition to the QR code on our postcards that we hand out. You know, any avenue, multiple avenues is better than one avenue.
Right.
Was my approach.
Hey, I'll just point out to everybody that one of the positive effects of COVID is that everybody knows how to use a QR code now. You go to a restaurant, you want to use your menu, you want to do whatever else. It's a huge, huge difference, and it is a change maker, and we try to include them on everything we put out nowadays. But various things can be used, like you guys said.
so. We've got a couple of questions. Jim Welch asked about the stencil for places that can't burn or otherwise make smoke with an electric branding iron. I would present to you, if you can see that or not, I have 75 of these steel stencils, fresh from my fab guy. These are spray paint stencil. It should be a last resort only when you can't fire something. We do need to be branding our beds in some way, shape, or form. So this is I'm not violating anybody's burn ban method to do that. So these will be probably $20. Most of that's to cover freight. I designed it with the fab guy in mind so that it'd slip in a USPS flat rate mailer, so that'll be the same cost whether you're in Tampa or Alaska. So we'll be adding this to CX in short order.
Will there be instructions on how to use it?
It's going to come. You can see, like if you can see that we did a break here in the steel. Put it in the vise. You bend that over. It sets on the wood. Registers in the same place every time you spray paint it, just like a stencil.
Will they still turn it upside down on me and do the
It'll still
right up and upside down?
You're my hero.
It can still be a DH5.
This is amazing.
Could we use a torch with it mapped out?
I would suggest no. It's 10 gauge steel. It's going to get awfully hot, and you could. Skip.
Could
I
we
would
do
say
a
no.
wood burner? Could we do a wood burner?
Wood burner,
Well, keep in mind, keep in mind, the point of that is to avoid branding with a fire. If you're presenting a fire, just have a burn barrel.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is for spray paint only, my
Correct.
friends.
Yes,
You
yes.
should not be using
It's
any
not
other.
enough food.
Yep.
Can we spray paint
Cannot
it in
use
pink?
propane. or
No,
anything
you
like that.
can't spray
No.
paint it in pink.
Oh my God, that's has to be
Alyssa.
Oh,
that
she
has to be
would too.
Alyssa.
She
We're-
would
we're
paint
gonna
it in
mute
pink
you.
for sure.
Or
We're rhinestoning
turquoise.
it.
Or
We're
turquoise,
rhinestoning it.
Alicia.
Um,
So,
Hey,
yes,
no
we
matter
do-
how much money you raise, girl.
yeah, you can't do pink beds.
Ask for
Oh, that's
forgiveness.
funny.
Ask for forgiveness.
No, yeah.
Oh,
You might get spanked on
we-
that one.
let's
I
mute
know, I'm
Alyssa
trouble.
right now.
Yeah,
We're
so-
muting her right now.
We do have them.
Hey,
Ask for forgiveness. You already asked for permission.
Yeah.
That's right. That's
JP,
right, Mike.
Yes, sir.
JP, I was going to tell you, and I want everybody to know this, the previous conversation about ideas on QR codes and business card options, things of that nature. It just goes to show you how bad we need a SME for fundraising events or fundraising ideas.
Would someone
'Cause
like to say
these-
what a SME is?
There you go. Thank
She.
you.
A SME is a subject matter expert, and
Way to
these
go,
are
Luke.
positions. These are positions that are going to be available on our volunteer opportunity on the dashboard. Now, some of these positions, eventually, I think, and I'm writing about it. That's why I'm talking about it right now, because I just wrote my news article about it. Some of these positions, as we grow, they're going to require a hired position just because of the mass amounts of opportunity and time it's going to take to gather these. I mean, tonight, if you thought, just think if everybody, all of our chapters were on this call tonight and heard these great ideas. Guys, I go all over and I listen to all these chapters. JP and the executive team listen to all these chapters and how they struggle with raising money and finding, whether it's volunteers or whatnot. We hear all these great ideas from other chapters. And, that's originally how we wanted Slack to go, and Slack just didn't turn into that. But if we're looking for these subject matter expert positions that can take ideas from everybody from all over and just help train, teach, even people on your core team that is maybe the financial rate, fundraising director or whatnot. Well, not director, but fundraising person on your team that they can have some training. They can talk to the corporate guy that is actually gathering all this information. So, if you're interested in, and that's just the fundraising aspect, there's a lot of other opportunities that, we're looking for to get some help with. And so, I just wanted to point that out, that great minds come together, create great ideas. And it's just, the task now is just assembling them all so everybody hears about them. So,
And the people to apply for these positions do not have to be chapter presidents.
No.
In fact, I'd almost prefer they not be. I hope you've
absolutely.
got a good finance person or a good delivery person that can work with other chapters across the country, across the regions, and then be able to share that information with other people that are having problems getting core team members or having problems raising money, or, what do we do delivery wise? So if you've got a core team member that's a rock star there, like Jim Welch has got one that they are on the dashboard, Lisa, under volunteer opportunities, who is a master of the Facebook post, but we've yet to convince Beth to take that next step. So there's positions there that they've been sitting. I would love to get some folks applying for them. So if you've got core team members or yourself, I don't care. It doesn't have to be a CP. If you got a red hot core team member that wants to do more, point them in that direction. We do, while we're talking core team members and those positions, I think if you saw the newsletter, you know that we do now have a corporate build manager in the form of Brian Buckwalter from Gwinnett County, Georgia. Brian's going to be coming online soon. We'll be updating and getting a new rev of the build manual out. We're going to be putting a delivery manual out that's very close. Amy's been working on that. So we're trying to give you all the tools you need so that you don't recreate wheels, and we can give you the things you need to be successful. 3 things, right? It's the simplest thing in the world: raise money, build beds, deliver beds. So it's our job. And I think Luke and Matt and Amy and Bruce and everybody else will tell you, and Tim, the executive team's job is to be, we're a service organization. So we're here to service you. Okay.
So a question that came in the chat was a question about the solo stoves.
Yes.
So just a little insight with that. Yes, we are working on it. We are like maybe this close. Luke and I are in constant contact with Solo Stove actually. And so some good things coming from that. We don't have anything closed or penciled right now, but be on the lookout for that. Cause yes, we are working on that.
I actually even saw, funny you say that, Matt. I just noticed in Divvy that someone had bought a Solo Stove, and I understand why, but Matt's right. I mean, we're literally emails away of them putting together orders to ship to us. So if you're in the market of buying a Solo Stove, you might want to wait maybe a month, and we'll have some available on CX
at a much better rate.
Much better rate.
Awesome. All right. We hit 8 o'clock. So if there's anything else pressing, you can ask it, but we hit 8 o'clock and I like to be respectful of your time the best that I can. Thank you for being here. I really hope you know how sincere I am when I say that we just love and appreciate all of you so much. You are all the reason that SHP is SHP and that it makes a difference for kids and your community, and you make my life better. And I'm just so grateful to be a part of this with you. I hope you know that that's so sincere when I say it. We think you are all wonderful. And if you need anything, please reach out. We're here to help. That's why we hold this meeting. That's why we do all the things we do. It's because we want to help you. So have a great evening. We will.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Real short. I've reached out to multiple churches in my area and they're like, oh yeah, we'd love to join you guys and, help you out. And then they flake. Is that a normal practice or?
Yep.
We used to have what was called the 50% rule. Some of you might remember this rule, but it still rings true most of the time. The 50% rule is if you want 20 volunteers to show up, you better have 40 commitments. Literally legit, I'll be their commitments because only 20 people are going to show up. So
correct.
That's very common.
Like
I've heard from nice to them. That's what I say. You got to be nice to them.
I've heard from several about it may be a phenomenon that's new, but I've heard from several about chapter presidents that they've had groups arrange and commit for a build and then cancel.
Right.
2 weeks out, a week out.
Right.
So my recommendation to him was get the money up front.
So
yes. Pay up, sucker.
I tell them I need the money 2 or 3 weeks in advance so that we can purchase materials.
Yes.
I have had to track someone down for the donation after a build, and I will never do that again.
And in the case where you're having a public build that you funded and you're planning on building some crazy number, 40, 50 beds, and you don't get enough volunteers, build what you can. You'll have the wood's not going to rot. Take it to the next build, have a team build, do something with it. Don't get wrapped around the axle about you got to do those 40 or 50 that day.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know if you heard at the beginning, I said we had a build 3 weeks ago. They wanted to build 100 beds. It was a little ambitious. They didn't have quite as many volunteers as they thought they would, and we finished maybe 50. I had a public build weekend. We took everything that was left from that and bought another 20 beds worth of lumber and finished everything.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have had enough for people to do had I not had a little bit of extra stuff. So you just never, I always tell Brad, I hate taking unfinished stuff home and unloading it from the trailer and reloading it in the trailer later. But there will be times where it's nice to have some extra. We started all the stations at the same time. So yeah, call it when you're calling the build and use that the next time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, my question about the first thing is they were trying, trying to help me get sponsors or have betting drives or something to that effect, and I reach out. One church, I actually sat down with the 3 people that do that stuff for the church. sat down with him at a coffee shop, had an hour-long meeting about it, and flatlined on me. Never
Yeah,
heard from him
Rich,
again.
unfortunately, the only person you can count on to follow through on those things is you.
Oh, I did. I followed
The
through.
only one.
I followed through 2 or 3 times, reaching out to email, tried to call the girl again, and I found out through a coworker, he goes to the same church this girl worked at, and he found out that she doesn't work for that church anymore. So I was like, oh, good to know.
Hey, Luke can probably
It happens.
Luke can probably back it up from a sales perspective, but I remember when I did a little bit when I first got out of college. But one out of every 10 doors you knock on will be a sale. Knock on 100 doors, you get 10 sales.
Yeah, yeah.
Just depends on how good a salesman you are.
Yeah. Here we go.
I had hair back then, so I was
There we
pretty darn
go.
good.
Hey, Rich.
Back in my younger years,
that's,
because I sold
Denny's
shoes for a
deal.
living.
Hey, Rich.
Yes, sir.
I think one of the other things that happens is people go, yeah, I want to do that. But then when they get away, they go, gosh, I don't want to get into. So what we did is we stole the video from, I think it's the Kansas City Southeast chapter, and it's 3 minutes long. And it shows everything from lumber on the trailer to the cutting to the build to the kids in the bed, and in 3 minutes it shows the whole story. And then once they see that there's kids and adults and everybody involved, and they can sort of see what happens on a build day, then they're a little more comfortable with getting involved.
Okay.
What
I would say,
sells,
and
what sells more builds?
let me just tell you one thing too, everybody. And JP and that group of early 2018 guys can tell you this. You just have to be patient. Trust me, it will happen. Some chapters, it takes 2 or 3 builds, and then all of a sudden, the dam breaks, and here comes the floodwaters. I remember we used to kind of kid around when people said, "Man, it's just going kind of slow right now." I almost say, "Well, enjoy it, because it's not going to last very long." Because I mean, everybody on this call that's been around for a while and has had that dam break, it's endless after that. You might be struggling to find a build now. Trust me, you're going to be postponing builds. You're going to be rescheduling builds later on because you got so many coming. It just takes a little time. So don't get discouraged, anybody. Don't get discouraged just because you haven't had, core teams show up. Trust me, they will show up. When you build it, they will come.
Right.
There was
and
this
I've got
really,
coming up this
really,
weekend.
really smart guy one time, and I think that he said something like, just build the damn bed.
Oh, gee,
He's a really
wow.
smart guy.
Yeah, we're going there. Okay.
Here we go.
Okay, I
Amy,
feel
you
like-
gotta get control of your meeting.
On that note,
Amy, wait, can I jump in? I just pasted. I'm gonna paste in a link, the video that Carl was talking about.
Okay, it's awesome.
The lady that does it, she's a great photographer in that southeast Kansas City area. We reached out to her and we rebranded the front and end of it to give her some credit, but it's an SHP, so it's not their chapters anymore. It's going to be a national thing.
Nice.
That link is there. You can use it in anything you have. It's going to start to show up when the new website launches. It'll be on your chapter pages. We've been designing a brand new chapter page to include a lot of the suggestions that you guys all wanted. So that video is in there because it does encapsulate from build to delivery. It does a great job of it in a few minutes to get the entire process in one spot.
Well, you can take my name off of it, but not my face. Huh.
I think we'd rather have the other way around.
Unfortunately, my friend, that's something none of us will ever forget.
okay, all right.
Well, thanks, guys.
Yes, I am gonna let everybody
Meeting
go.
falling apart fast.
Yeah, it's fun. It's
We
off the
love
rails.
you, and we will see you next time. Please reach out if we can do it.
Jealous, Luke.
Yeah, you guys are welcome to come by the fire anytime.
Hi,
We'll
guys.
see y'all.